Hey, Ken, thanks for coming back for another conversation with me.
Oh, always a pleasure. I love this.
Let's talk about what to do when your partner is going through a really jealous moment, a spike of jealousy. Because this is a hard time, right? Jealousy is going to happen. It's a perfectly
Yeah,
natural
it's
emotion to experience.
mhm.
And it can feel so overwhelming when your partner is experiencing jealousy and to try to figure out what to do without fixing the situation, without abandoning yourself. What do we do without moving
Yeah,
into some sort of problematic pattern or moving into old patterns?
I like this. So this is the discussion about what to do if you've got a jealous partner. We're
Yeah,
not talking about, okay, I'm in the throes of jealousy myself. It's like, how can I support this person? And
right.
and I'd like to start off by saying, let's normalize feeling jealousy and
Yeah.
not hiding it. Because it's an emotion. It has
So,
value, and it happens. So let's not stigmatize it.
well, and there's a difference between feeling jealousy and experiencing it and
Mm,
expecting that my partner has to change their behavior so that I can stop feeling jealousy.
right.
Sometimes there's going to be stuff that you want to renegotiate in your relationship because jealousy has warned you that something's going on that doesn't work for you. But the vast majority of people that I work with find that jealousy comes up even when everything is going according to plan. And that happens for me too. You have certainly walked me through, I don't know, hundreds of jealous moments where I am caught by my jealousy. And even though everything we're doing aligns with my values and you're upholding your agreements and I'm I'm still in agreement with those agreements. Everything is technically fine,
Hmm.
but that
Yeah.
doesn't stop feelings from happening.
No, no. Things being fine doesn't stop feelings from happening.
Right.
So let's talk about this particular feeling in detail. So when we say our partner's feeling jealousy, what are we talking about?
Welcome to Playing with Fire, the podcast for people who are ready to custom build their love.
We're talking about non-monogamy, however you design it, as an individuation opportunity.
Want to leave the default and make your life spectacularly you? You're in the right place. Hey, Ken, thanks for coming back for another conversation with me.
Oh, always a pleasure. I love this.
Let's talk about what to do when your partner is going through a really jealous moment, a spike of jealousy. Because this is a hard time, right? Jealousy is going to happen. It's a perfectly
Yeah,
natural
it's
emotion to experience.
mhm.
And it can feel so overwhelming when your partner is experiencing jealousy and to try to figure out what to do without fixing the situation, without abandoning yourself. What do we do without moving
Yeah.
into some sort of problematic pattern or moving into old patterns?
I like this. So this is the discussion about what to do if you've got a jealous partner. We're
Yeah,
not talking about, okay, I'm in the throes of jealousy myself. It's like, how can I support this person? And
right.
and I'd like to start off by saying, let's normalize feeling jealousy and
Yeah.
not hiding it. Because it's an emotion. It has
So,
value, and it happens. So let's not stigmatize it.
well, and there's a difference between feeling jealousy and experiencing it and
Mm,
expecting that my partner has to change their behavior so that I can stop feeling jealousy.
right.
Sometimes there's going to be stuff that you want to renegotiate in your relationship because jealousy has warned you that something's going on that doesn't work for you. But the vast majority of people that I work with find that jealousy comes up even when everything is going according to plan. And that happens for me too. You have certainly walked me through, I don't know, hundreds of jealous moments where I am caught by my jealousy. And even though everything we're doing aligns with my values and you're upholding your agreements and I'm I'm still in agreement with those agreements. Everything is technically fine,
Hmm.
but that
Yeah.
doesn't stop feelings from happening.
No, no, things being fine doesn't stop feelings from happening.
Right.
So let's talk about this particular feeling in detail. So when we say our partner's feeling jealousy, what are we talking about?
Right. So remember, not everybody uses the word jealousy to describe what we're talking about here, but jealousy is the emotional conglomeration, the big glop of emotions that show up when we feel a threat to a valued relationship. And we feel that threat specifically because we feel like there is someone who could interrupt our valued relationship. Right. So we spot the jealousy triangle. And this is super important because this is different from envy. Envy is when I want to have what my partner has, or I want to be who they are, right? And envy and jealousy might show up at the same time. It's also a little bit different from insecurity. Insecurity might show up at the same time too, but insecurity is going to be very clearly rooted in I don't feel safe, right? Jealousy may also tell me I don't feel safe, but jealousy can come with a whole bunch of other emotions. It can come with anger and shame. It can come with strange feelings of the need to control, like strange as in out of out of the realm of what you typically experience. Jealousy at root is designed to keep us connected to our valued others, but it gets out of hand pretty fast, pretty fast. Um, the first thing
So,
I always think of when I think, is this jealousy? Is can I spot the triangle? Even if that interruption that I am seeing, even if I can't say, oh, it's that person is going to interrupt me. It can also be someone that I imagine I've had a couple of times when you've come home from like a work conference or being at the office, like away from me for a
mhm.
while, and you'll be talking about someone, and I'll notice that the way that you talk about them, even though they're not even somebody I know, you're not even putting a name on it. I can't even tell whether you're talking about one person or whether you're just talking about people you met while you're there. But I start to invent like a person and interrupter. Right? So sometimes it's vague, but you can always spot the triangle. Jealousy and all is unique to every situation, but that's the mess it is.
So I'm observing my partner. There you are. Yeah, I come home, I'm talking. Um, you mentioned that we don't always like name it as jealousy to start off. Is there something I can do to help my partner like narrow down their actual experience so that we can identify the jealousy?
Yeah. So the very first thing that we can do is take stock of the situation, right? So I want to first take a deep breath. If I'm the partner, I want to take a deep breath or otherwise regulate myself. I want to
Mhm.
move into okay, I need to be regulated in my own nervous system and not get reactive, not jump to conclusions, and also not put words in my partner's mouth. Because if I immediately say, "Oh, you're feeling jealous," well, maybe, but maybe not. We don't know. So let's be clear. Sometimes your partner's going to say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous," but sometimes they're just going to be having a whole bunch of feelings and you're getting the clues that they may be. Either way, I need you to regulate yourself, right? Like our job is to regulate ourselves, to ground, do a body scan, check in with my sensations, do some neurosomatic intelligence drills, um, move my body, get a drink of water, do some things to get settled in my body. And from there, I can do a little bit of assessing for what's going on for me. Because when my partner's having a big emotional feeling, I probably have a pattern that I typically fall into. Do you have a pattern? What do you
I
do? What
I
kind of pattern do you move into when jealousy shows up or any
when
big
jealousy
emotion?
shows up in me, what is my pattern?
No, no.
Um,
When jealousy shows up in me and you're trying to help me
yeah,
through it, what's your
okay.
pattern?
My pattern is to start asking questions. Actually,
Oh, that's so grown up.
yeah.
I love
Sorry.
that. I love that for you. Actually, I love it for me. I feel really lucky to be partnered to you because even though I know all of this stuff, my unconscious reactive thing is to move into fixing mode. I go straight for fixing mode. I will rush
Mhm.
in and try to prove that you're safe, prove that you have nothing to worry about.
Oh, sure.
I'll
Yep.
rush in with like a logical breakdown of why things aren't as bad as you think they are. So I
Well,
go into fixing mode. Not
my
helpful.
particular brain actually wants to first ask, like, I want to be sure. that what I'm seeing is what I think I'm seeing. You mentioned that, I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I start asking questions to try to find out what it is you're actually experiencing. And if it turns out to be jealousy, then I'll ask some more questions. And if it turns out to be something related to me, then part of me will absolutely move into fixing mode and try to like, well, then I'll change my behavior. Like,
Right.
that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is this is a situation that, hey, okay, great. I do want to fix it because I don't want you to be uncomfortable. On the other hand, you have just, if we've gotten to the point where you say, I'm feeling jealous, then we've gotten to a point where you have identified a want, a desire.
What do you think
Otherwise,
I've just identified? How would you name that?
well, if you're feeling that a connection is under threat of being disrupted, then we've identified your desire for the connection.
Hmm. So it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's
But what
very,
happens
very
next
helpful information,
could.
but it can go sideways easy.
Right. So one pattern that we both have noticed we will fall into is the fixing mode. Another pattern that's unhelpful is self-abandonment, right? Like all of a
Mhm.
sudden I will just be like, I don't have any, I don't need this. It's kind of like fixing, but it's very specifically, I'm just going to not
Yeah.
have any needs. I'm going to shift away from my stated values. I'm going to do whatever it takes to appease the person who's feeling jealous because I am
Yes.
terrified of the break in connection.
Which is exactly what I just referred to when I said, "Well, I'll just stop doing it." That's the self abandonment.
Yeah.
I did that on purpose, whatever it was, because it was something I wanted. So yeah, I want to stay differentiated, stay me with
Right.
my wants and needs and such,
And not
and let you be
jump to the
you.
conclusion that you've done something
Right.
wrong because we don't
Yeah.
actually know yet. And the third pattern that I see frequently is a shame spiral. My partner's feeling
Mhm.
jealous, and now I get either super defensive. I think of that as the shame spiral that goes upward, right? Defensiveness, it gets really aggressive. Or I get over identified with blame and shame, and I go downward, and
Mhm.
now I'm a bad person that this ever happened. I see this happen a lot with people where they feel a little out of sync about how committed to their non monogamy they are, or they're doing non monogamy for different reasons. So if my partner isn't as enthusiastic as I am and they're feeling jealous, it can get really easy to either get super defensive and be like, oh, you're never going to get there. You're never going to be able to do this well enough. You're never going to be
Mm.
able to, and I'm not going to be able to be myself. We should just break up. Or to go into a total shame spiral downward into, oh, I knew it, that we can't make this work. It's never going to work. I can't believe I need this. Why do I need this? And start blaming myself for having these desires.
Right. And
Neither the spiraling isn't helpful.
And you mentioned taking a moment to breathe and regulate whatever tools you use, and I think that's great because that gives me the best chance of not thoughtlessly just jumping into my habits of response, my
Right.
habitual responses. The more regulated I am, the more centered and grounded I am in myself, the more I can take the kind of positive action that will maintain our connection versus what you were just describing. Yeah, the downward spiral into shame certainly distances me from you, and the upward spiral into defensiveness pushes you away.
Right.
Either one of them are ways of disconnecting.
And I don't want to make it sound like regulating yourself first is the easiest thing in the world.
Oh,
Often,
yeah,
a moment when we're struck by, oh, my partner is jealous, is a really, like, it can be a really intense or a pivotal moment. It's happening frequently in a transition moment. Right? Transition management is a really big deal. So this will frequently happen when we're just about to leave for a date, we're just coming home from a date, we're just coming home from travel, or we're shifting from being together and all of a sudden the texts, still, like, all of a sudden there's like three texts in a row and I've shifted my attention away, and this
yeah,
sparks jealousy, and then now I've transitioned my energy this way. And uh, in those transition moments there's a lot of delicate emotional work to tend to. And so paying attention to what's going on in the body is important. And every second feels like it counts in these moments. It feels like an emergency. But
Right. Yeah.
the interesting thing about jealousy is it's about maintaining a connection to a valued other. And we're talking about adult relationships, mature relationships. So, in fact, it's not an emergency, it's
Mhm.
important. And it's even, I would even say there is some, it has risen, right? The emotion is telling me this is urgent, but that's the immature version. That's the part that comes from jealousy is hardwired into me because I was an infant who needed to stay connected to my caregiver or I would die.
Right.
So that part
So
of me,
that sense of being an emergency is related to an existential threat, an
yes.
imagined existential threat
And one that
linked
is
back to when disconnection from the caregiver was an
on
existential
a
threat.
minute by minute
Yeah.
basis. Like if I get left out in the cold,
Hmm.
and forgotten. Like this is a big problem right now as an adult. If the jealousy came into my awareness and I could remember and stay present in my generative, wise, mature adult self, then that urgent feeling would also be balanced with right, and also I can take care of myself right now. And we're going to do a separate episode to walk people through step by step. Like we're going to hold your hand and walk you through a jealous moment, but I want to not stigmatize the that emergency feeling,
Hmm.
and at the same time remind us all that right, and we're adults, and right, we can be here and present to the moment and move into a space of taking responsibility for what's ours in this situation without self abandoning, without trying to rush to fix something in a way that's actually going to undermine our values, and to really actually empathize with the person,
Yeah.
staying present
Yeah.
to emotional content that's coming up without rushing, because when we rush, we might actually get further away from the intended outcome, from what they actually want. So,
So that's an interesting question all by itself. So I come home, you respond to me and the situation that I bring with jealousy.
mhm,
One of the questions that I should ask is, if we get to the point where you say, I'm jealous, what do you want to do about that? Like, is that something that you want to resolve? Do you want to feel it? Because not everybody completely runs away from the feeling of jealousy.
right. But I want you to like just check in on the tone of your voice right there. The
Okay.
way that you said that question,
Yep.
if I were actually activated right now,
Hmm.
that the tone of your voice sounds a little judgmental and dismissive even there. Just
Ah.
saying like, what do you want to do about it?
Huh,
Right?
okay. Oh, yeah, I
Right? And so
see.
it's so subtle. It's
It's
in the
so
subtleties.
subtle.
This
And
is why we have to have a plan for how am I
yeah.
going to work with this. And regulating myself first is a unique experience. So my move to regulate is going to be get up, move my body around, take a few deep breaths and exhale really deeply, shake my body out. So I will usually just go to the bathroom. I'll say like, "Hang on, I need to go to the bathroom." And I'll take 45 seconds to just shake it out and
Mhm.
bring myself back into myself. You will often excuse yourself to another room for a different reason because you often need to check whether you
Yeah.
are actually ready to empathize. It takes you a little
Mhm.
longer to process. And you often go look in the mirror to
Yeah.
actually see, like, do I look like an empathetic person? Do I sound like an empathetic person?
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that when you're turning attention to me that way, that you really do, because otherwise I've seen you default into either like, yeah, sort of a callous,
Mhm.
overly logical part of you
Yeah.
or a puppy dog. And
Right.
I get the wounded puppy dog like, do you want to fix this? No, how do we? And neither of those, right? So we're
Yep.
looking to find this mature, grounded
That's it. Neither of
adult
those are
part
mature and grounded,
of
right? And
ourselves.
I really appreciate you noticing my tone and my particular sentence structure that I used, even
Right.
about the point that I was trying to get across, about how subtle it is, and also how So you're describing what we can do to get ourselves into a spot where the interaction around this will go with the largest amount of goodwill toward each other
Right.
as there can be. And as you said, if you were activated already, that this particular set of tones and
Right. Would set me
Lord knows
off.
even my facial expression, because I'm looking at you right now. I mean, my picture's on the screen and I can look at it, but um, so
Yeah.
I
You weren't
wasn't
clocking
doing,
yourself.
yeah, I wasn't doing the thing you were describing. I was just talking.
You were having a meta
I was
conversation. You
having a
weren't
meta
in it.
conversation. I'm thinking and I'm talking and I'm not caretaking the emotional content of the
Okay.
conversation, which would not be a good move if I'm
So,
actually working with you on jealousy.
so
Thank you.
if you regulate yourself first, and then the next move is to signal safety without taking responsibility for the emotion, right?
Yeah.
So it can be as simple as this. So I liked what you said in the idea. I liked the idea of it, the sentiment
Yeah.
of it. But what I would suggest is more like, I'm here and I care, and I don't need you to change. I don't need this to be different right now. Do you want to talk about this?
That
Just
sounds
staying present.
sounds very different.
And
Yeah.
and the question, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Right there. Like there's like it, and everybody's going to have a different response to different words. So this is actually a great thing to plan ahead and actually have like, what's your
Mm.
go-to, right? If you ask me, do you want to talk about this right now? I respond well to that. For somebody else, those words might be a little off-putting. So you can workshop this and figure out what's the right phrase for you to have. But soft eye contact, or if eye contact isn't your thing, then soft open body postures, bring your shoulders down, relax your jaw, like take a deep breath and soften your belly. As you signal safety, you make space for empathy, right? So then we can move into actually empathizing with what our partner's saying, because often they'll be talking quickly right now, or they'll be shut down, and they'll have said something and then kind of immediately fallen into a shutdown.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say next? What's the next move? One of the things we can do that really helps is to mirror back what the energy of what they said. We're not talking about repeating exactly what they say, but something like, it sounds like you're really worried that you're not important to me in this moment. Is that true? Am I getting that? Or it sounds like this is really big for you right now. And just making space for, yep, this is real for them. Not minimizing their experience, not asking them to feel something different, and not explaining it away. We rush so quickly to explanation. Um,
Hmm.
we don't, we actually need to slow down a little bit and make space for the feelings here, and the feelings, it is what it is.
You said something that's really struck me. You have talked about this in so many different ways. You've talked about working with jealousy, and I've heard you say so many different things. And I feel like you've probably said this before, but I just heard it: signaling safety
Mm,
all the way, and what you called out. And I'm still struck by your your response to my question of like, what do you want to do about it? Uh, it didn't signal safety.
no,
It
it
didn't
didn't
provide
register as safety in my body.
which
Yeah.
since jealousy is a sense of unsafety to begin with, the more contextual safety I can provide, the the more supportive I'm actually being. So that was amazing. So signaling safety and all the different ways that you just described to do that, really nice.
So we signal safety without taking responsibility for the emotions that are coming up, and
Hmm.
then move into reflective empathy. This is the kind of empathy where we're mirroring, we're not trying to mimic back what they've said, but we let them know with empathizing language that we get it. We hear what they're saying. They might be worried that this relationship is less valuable. They might be worried about any number of things. Um, I really like coming back to, it sounds like you're worried that you're not important to me in this moment.
Hmm.
because so it often boils down to feeling like I'm going to be dismissed or I'm less than, right? And it's going to be specific for everyone, but under there is this feeling of like, I'm not important enough. I'm not valued. I won't be safe. And at the same time, we got to hold on to our own reality, right? So as the partner, it's important that I don't rush into trying to fix this by saying, "Oh, I'm never going to go out again," or
Right.
I'll never have an overnight again," or "I knew we shouldn't even be trying this." So that can be moving into, I want to stay connected to you, and I want to stay connected to me. I care about you, and I also know that we're experiencing a lot of change right now, and so I want to move slowly through this with you so we can find a way through it. Right. Holding on to the reality that this is a process you're going through. Most of the time, jealousy is bigger during the first few months or years of shifting paradigms, right? Jealousy is bigger as I'm shifting into experiencing my partner, having other lovers, having other really emotionally important people, whatever you're shifting to. As you shift those values, your emotional basis may not keep up. Like if it's not keeping up,
Yeah.
then we need to connect to that part of you that is making the paradigm shift, and at the same time care about the parts of you that are terrified. And yeah, I like to have a hold of these simple phrases to use, like, I'm here. I want to stay connected to you, and I'm connected to me. We have a thing that we say to each other all the time that's really helpful. A pre-canned sentence. I say, I choose you.
I choose you.
I choose me.
I choose me.
Let's do this together. Let's get into this. I want
Let's
to
do
talk
this
about
together.
this
Yeah.
with you.
Yep.
I'm here with you. It sounds corny. I get it that it sounds corny, but in these moments, like
Hmm.
when I am broken down, you saying something like that to me that we already have committed, it reminds me of the commitment that we have made to each other to work
Yeah.
through these hard moments. And then we can move into
Yeah.
an invitation
Right.
to, what do we need to talk about, right? And this is where we move into, like, not rescuing mode, but that curiosity, the curiosity that you talked about right at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? So that could be questions about how somebody wants to be treated right then. Would you like me to sit with you and you can just talk through everything that's coming up? Would that help you? Or is this a time when you'd like to be held? Or would you like to have a little space? Would you like me to put on your rescue playlist? We talk about, in jealousy work, we talk a lot about having a rescue plan, because jealousy comes up and it just cuts us off right like at the knees. It's like being clotheslined. And so having a playlist that you turn on that's soothing for you, some moves that doesn't mean I'll remember to use my jealousy rescue list. So you have more than a few times asked me, do you want me to put on your rescue list? Usually the best you get from me is a grunt. I'm like,
Yeah.
eh. And you put it on and the music does start to change the situation. And from here, what happens next is going to get incredibly personal and specific, right? I don't know what each individual listening has agreed to. I don't know what your agreements look like. I don't know what the specifics of the pacing and the timing that you have agreed to. But I do know that when I'm working with people who are feeling stuck because their partner keeps experiencing jealousy, the thing that disconnects them the most is saying out loud, you're never going to get there. I knew this
Mm.
would keep being a problem. I can't believe we're still having to deal with this. So these are the things not to say. Jealousy, I've been a professional jealousy researcher for a decade. I have been non monogamous for 16 years. I still experience jealousy. And when I do, I still want and deserve care. That care doesn't need to come at the cost of my partner continuing to live the life that we have agreed to live. But like receiving your empathy and never feeling shamed by you because I'm feeling jealous. People ask how I can do this if I still experience jealousy. I'm like, I have partners who don't shame me about my jealousy. That's it. Right down at its bottom level. The only person who ever shamed me about my jealousy, I am no longer partnered to. All of my other partners have always been supportive of, like, yeah, jealousy happens and we work with it. And maybe that sounds too simple, but like that
Well,
really is how it works.
that makes sense to me because, for one thing, if I'm already in the grips of jealousy, you want to like add shame into that stew. It's just
Yeah,
gonna like it will absolutely make it harder to deal with,
right.
and it will magnify the other parts. So yeah, that makes sense. Hey, I see you're feeling. I see what you're feeling. Um, what do you want to sit with it? Yeah, like just accepting that is what it is, and going back to what I said at the beginning. Not let's normalize it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
fine.
you and I've told on a couple of other people, I guessed on a lot of podcasts, and I've told a story about a particular time when you walked me through jealousy. You walked me through an incredibly difficult jealousy moment. It's actually on August McLaughlin's podcast, Girl Boner Radio. It is a very spicy story. um, I'll link that episode here for those who are interested. You walking me through my jealous moment without trying to fix it, without abandoning me, and without treating me like a child. You
Mm,
treated me like an adult who was moving through something she wanted to move through. That was a pivotal moment, not just in our relationship, but in my life. Like that was a moment where I realized, yeah, I can do this. I can be with it because once I had experienced you being present with my jealousy, it started to also transfer to me. I started being more present with my jealousy myself. Like,
okay.
oh, wait, that's what that would look like and feel like. You modeled for me the reparenting I needed. You modeled what it would be like to not run away from the reality that you had been out, you'd been having sex with someone else, and that was a true thing. But you didn't pretend it wasn't, but you just stayed with me, and it was
Mm,
absolutely, it became a transformative moment. So we'll link that episode, but I want to also talk about, so what happens next if we work through the jealousy roadmap, right? The first steps are sensation. Notice the sensation. Name the emotions, not just jealousy, but all the flavors. What emotions are coming up? Name them. Then you get into the narrative. Okay, what's the story you're telling yourself now? Like what do you think is going to happen next? Often in there is a I'm afraid. I'm afraid that. Tell the scary story. Say it out loud. Often when I speak the scary story out loud, I can hear for myself like, wait, that is one that is one perspective that doesn't even actually align. I know that that scary story I'm telling doesn't align with the version of you I have come to know. But as I speak it out loud, as I say these sentences, I recognize like, oh, this is a childlike part of me.
mhm.
This is one of my inner children parts that is not feeling okay right now. They're feeling very scared and they need to be updated. And that's going to take time. But as we move through that narrative and you stay the course, you stay present to, yeah, I hear you. I'm here with you. I'm listening. And if you don't take responsibility for the fact that I'm having these feelings, then you can stay and listen. If you start identifying with, like, if I say, I'm terrified because I'm sure that now that you are connecting with this person every single month, you're connecting with her every month. I can feel how next month you're probably going to ask for more connection, and then you're going to want overnights. And once you have overnights, I think you're probably going to want to go on vacations. And I don't even know what's going to happen. I can't do that. Right? And now I'm down this
Yeah.
path, right? But as I'm saying this, if you buy into my panic and
Mhm.
join me in
Right.
it, now we have two panicked people in a fiction.
Yeah. Two people who have become panicked by an imaginary story of the future.
But if you
Yeah.
but if you push too hard against it, that's not helpful either, right?
Yep.
If you say that's never going to happen, I'm never going to do that. That's you are always first. Everything's going to be fine because I will always choose you. If you overcompensate with big
Yep.
statements about things that will
Yeah.
always or never, right? Then well, that's not realistic. And the grown-up part of me knows. that might not be true. In
Yep.
fact, you may want more connection next month or next year. You may want to go on vacations. Those things they could actually happen. So we need to stay in this very soft space of, I hear you. I'm with you now, and we're going to move through this at a pace that actually works, right? Like, we're going to stay with this process. And that moves us from narrative to the fourth step of the jealousy roadmap, which is, what are your needs? What do we need here? Because now it's possible that your partner now is ready to talk about, like, you know what? I thought I was going to be okay. But as you started leaving for this date tonight, I went into a total panic because I realized that I hadn't actually made a plan for myself and I didn't know what I was going to do with my time. Or, you were coming home and I was fine until about a half an hour before you were going to come home. And then I started just, I don't know, freaking out, and I was pacing, then I went into a total freeze state. And that's where you found me here, just on the couch, like, just panicked. Okay. In either of those cases, what we just identified is, we need a better plan. We need to
Yeah.
do some planning and some care around, okay, what's going to happen? And that's something, as the jealous person, I can take responsibility for that planning, but you can join me in the brainstorming, in the setup. You can absolutely help me figure out, okay, so we need to figure out how to meet these needs.
Yeah.
But we don't even know what the needs are until we work through these steps.
So I'm hearing you describe like a jealousy go bag.
Yeah.
Before jealousy comes up, um, you can spend some time thinking about what you're going to do when it does.
And it's still not going to be perfect
And it won't be
because,
perfect because every situation is different, and that noticing needs, those needs can be down deep and be
right,
hard to get to in a cool state. Like, well,
right.
I don't need that now, so no, it's fine. Um, but all those you mentioned the canned statements,
Yeah.
like agreeing on what they are is very helpful rather than like trying to make up a statement in the moment.
Right.
Um,
Well, like, even just having the statement, I love, we have a statement that we've agreed to that is like, I need to take a pause right now. Will
mhm.
you stay with me? Great. Okay. I know what that means. I know
Yeah,
what my job is. My job is not to pick up my phone. My job is to stay present, sit with you, hold on. We're going to come back to that, but you're managing something. Either you're processing intellectually, or you're managing feelings or sensations, or you're just breathing.
right.
Whatever. Um I there is As you work through the jealousy roadmap, there's another thing that some people, we tend to jump to because we want it so badly. But I'm going to ask, please don't ask your partner to feel compersion instead.
Mm,
Right? Like, this is a little bit like asking for forgiveness before somebody else is ready. Like, we can't ask our partner to feel compersion. When compersion shows up, it'll be here. We can ask them to have an attitude of compersion, but that's a conversation for a cool state. That is not a soothing conversation for a person who's caught in the midst of their jealousy.
right.
So don't ask them to turn their jealousy into compersion right now. All you're doing is throwing kerosene on a fire. Let's not do that. And like, the other reframe I would add is that this is a move toward intimacy, right? So if, as I'm being soothed, if I can receive, like, if you're soothing me through this, you're walking me through this without abandoning yourself, without overpromising, without taking blame. If I can see that as, oh, he's here with me, I'm literally getting the proof that, in fact, I
Hmm.
am important to you. You are providing me with that. This is a way for us to be more intimate with each other. And it's skills. This is skill building as well. Like, being able to regulate myself, knowing how to co-regulate together with a particular partner, because we all do that differently. And having agreements that we actually consent to, that we're like, these are real agreements, so we actually know what we're agreeing to. All of those are skills. They're not inherent traits that, like, oh, you're good at this and I'm bad at this. They're skills you can learn. So
Yeah, I think that's really important that they are skills that you can learn, and like everything, they learn. They get better with practice.
they do. But there's something else we should talk about before we wrap up.
Hmm.
The getting swept by jealousy is a big deal. It feels like a big deal. It's hard. It can be hard on everybody involved in the situation. And sometimes this will show up as a pattern. I've talked about how I still feel jealousy, and I will still come to you and express my jealousy and ask for your support through it. In the early days of our relationship, expressing jealousy was one of the ways that I controlled you without
Oh,
knowing I
yeah.
was.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be really, I want to be careful here. I don't believe I knew I was doing it. I don't believe most people know that that's what they're doing. I want to be careful to say jealousy needs to be tended to carefully. And I would never recommend that you do not accuse your partner of controlling you through jealousy. Work with the jealousy that's shown up. And then in a cool moment, there may be some jealousy work to do around what do we do when we're dysregulated and jealousy is the cause and we're talking about jealousy. What do we do to make it clear that in this relationship, jealousy doesn't mean that we necessarily change our actions. Jealousy itself can't be the mechanism of control. And that's a conversation to have in a cool headed moment when we're talking about values, when we are
Mm.
grounded in we're here, we're making agreements about how we actually connect with each other. And for a lot of people, this is where they need third party help. They need someone else to see what's going on because we get into these patterns where we may be leaning on jealousy because there are unconscious parts of us that have learned that jealousy is such a big emotion that our partner will stop what they're doing. They'll say like, no,
Yep.
no, never mind, I won't do this. And so if you are the jealous person and you're like, I don't want to keep doing this, but I recognize myself. Yeah, I think I have leaned on jealousy as a bit of a crutch here. I just want to name that you can also learn your way out of this. I have. It was really hard at first, but I had to learn that I could make agreements with you that were supportive of both of us having agency and autonomy. And that would provide actual safety versus being
Mm.
able to
Yep.
pull out the sword of jealousy and cut you off from the activities that you wanted by basically throwing us both into a really emotional moment. But I had to learn that over time. It took a while to convince all of my parts that that wasn't actually an effective intimacy builder. It was actually creating distance between us rather than bringing you closer to me.
I'm so happy that you brought that up. The incidental unconscious control.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it can be intentional as well, but it can be so subtle,
So subtle. So
you
subtle.
know. It makes sense to me that so if I'm already inclined slightly, even slightly towards self abandonment, oh, I want to help you not feel this thing, not have the what is clearly a dysregulating experience. If I have that point of view, then yeah, I uh, you could very easily unconsciously just respond in that way that you're already, you already are feeling jealousy.
Right.
So, well, yeah, I can see how you
It's
certainly have child parts who are like, great, we're gonna we're gonna act on this jealousy, and we're gonna get what we want.
right. And I believe everyone can learn to work
Hmm.
with their childlike parts to move
Yep.
through jealousy differently. And I've
Well,
seen
like you
people
said,
do
you've done it.
remarkable things.
I've seen you do it.
Remarkable things.
I've seen members of the year of opening do it.
Yeah,
Learn in the
absolutely.
course of the year. Watched amazing transformations as people started to improve their relationships to their own interiority
Yeah,
and start
absolutely.
making different decisions that felt impossible, 6 months
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So if you are listening to this episode and thinking, okay, I think I need to walk through the jealousy roadmap some more. I think I
Mm.
need to understand that. The Befriending Jealousy Workshop, that's where you want to head. The Befriending Jealousy Workshop is a full walkthrough of the jealousy roadmap with a workbook, everything to help you understand how to move through it. the jealousy roadmap I didn't invent it. It came out of my doctoral research. It was very apparent once I was researching people who were dealing successfully with jealousy, they were all taking the same path. And they didn't even realize that they had a strategic path, but they had developed it themselves and they were using it. So if you want to know more about that, I would go take the Befriending Jealousy workshop, get more comfortable, and you can always join us at any Playing with Fire Ask Me Anything. If you go
Right.
to joliehamilton.com and click on the drop-down menu, you'll see our Ask Me Anything listed there. You can drop into those and have a conversation with us about how you're working with jealousy. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
There's no one right way to design your relationship. And lots of people, actually about 25%, according to a recent national survey, are interested in some type of open relationship. But how do you know if you are ready to open up happily? Not everyone is, and that's no problem. I've got a 60-second quiz that will give you the answer. And even better, you'll walk away with your next step, whether you're good to go or not so much when it comes to opening up. And this is no BuzzFeed nonsense. I personally designed this quiz from my years of academic research. Go to joliequiz.com. That's JOLIQUIZ.com and find out if you're ready to open up happily and what to do if you are or if you're not.